You're listening to the Healthy and Thriving Career Moms podcast, where every week you will learn about healthier habits and hacks to create and support a healthy and thriving lifestyle as a busy mum. I'm your host, Wendy, and I truly believe that the best gift you can give to your family and the world is a healthy, thriving you. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 7 of season 3 of the Healthy and Thriving Career Moms podcast, where today you have a solo episode with moi. And I'm going to be talking to you about creating the environment to really help you to be healthy and thriving as a career mom and what that looks like. And yeah, we're going to go into all the nitty gritty of that today. But before we do that, I just wanted to let you know about something really exciting happening in the next week. So we are coming up to the first anniversary of the launch of the Healthy and Thriving Career Moms podcast. I cannot believe it. On the 2nd of November, 2021 is when I officially launched the podcast. And in the space of a year, we've done 2.5 seasons now. So not every single week. So that probably equates to around 30 or so episodes. Should have counted up before I started. But we've had over 4,000 downloads of the podcast, which if you're in the podcast world, that might not necessarily sound like a lot, but it is. It's a pretty big deal. And what that tells me is that you guys love this podcast. And I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you. So whether this is the first time you're listening or whether you're a seasoned listener, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And so to celebrate the first anniversary of the launch of the podcast, I'm going to be running a really cool competition. And what that is for anybody, so this is whether or not you've done it or would like to do it off the back of today, is anybody who has left a review of the podcast in the last year. You probably might be thinking, oh, didn't I? You might need to go back and have a look. But email me a screenshot or messenger me or Instagram me. I mean, it's probably safer you email me, so I have it all in one place. And I will put my email address in the show notes, but that's wendy@wendygriffith.co.uk. Send me a screenshot of that and you will be entered in to a draw to win a special coaching package with me. And I'll tell you what that looks like at the end of the podcast, where I'm announcing something else very exciting for you. So that is, whether you've done it before, you can enter, because you deserve it. You've done it already. Thank you. And if you have been meaning to leave a review for a while, this is your opportunity to get in there. So we probably have around 25 reviews so far. So if we get another few today, you probably have like a 1 in 30 chance of winning that coaching package, which I think is really good odds. You know, if you enter the lotto, got better chances of winning this. So yes, that is my competition. And I need those entries in by the 31st of October, Monday, the 31st of October. So I can announce on my socials the winner on the 1st of November. So now that the administration is out of the way, let's get into today's episode. So whether you're listening or whether you're watching this on YouTube now, because all these episodes are going onto YouTube too, I just want to talk today about creating the environment for success. Now, this is something I've been thinking a lot about recently. And there was a quote that I read recently and it really kind of struck a nerve with me. I would say it didn't trigger me, but it was sort of that like, oh, okay, why does that resonate? You know, when you read things and they don't really jump out at you. And then sometimes you can read something and you think, whoa, okay, that really hits a nerve. And it was the quote that you cannot heal in the environment that has made you sick. Now, you can take this how you want to. I'm not taking this as like physically ill, or maybe it is that you're physically ill about, something, or maybe it's that you're feeling sort of mentally ill, or maybe it's that all of the above, like emotionally, physically, spiritually, whatever it is, burnt out. And so it got me thinking about environment. And actually, if you are in a place in your life right now where you're thinking, I'm not quite where I thought I'd be, or I thought things would be better by now, or I'm really feeling discombobulated. I love that word. Kind of really does what it says, doesn't it? Like all the discombobulation. Or I just feel like if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, isn't like that the definition of insanity? Like to keep doing what you're doing and thinking that one day you're going to have time to focus on your habits, on, that working on yourself, whatever that looks like, to help you to be the most healthy and thriving career mom. And so, yeah, that that is something I've been thinking a lot about recently. And I think it's just that time of year, isn't it? It's change of the seasons. Here in the UK, the leaves are dropping, it's getting chillier. We're moving into stew season. I've been posting my stews on my stories, and you guys have been telling me whether or not you're a stew fan like me. And yeah, I feel like it's that natural time where you actually just need to do a little bit of a spring clean and a little bit of a reassess of things. And that's certainly what I've been going through, certainly over the last month, and looking at different things. So what do I mean by your environment? Because you might take that quite literally and think, okay, that's your physical environment, your home, your office, your car, your garage, whatever it is, your loft, your storage areas, whatever it is, you might think of your physical space. So yeah, that absolutely has a lot to do with it. I really believe that your physical environment around you is very representative of what's going on internally. So if you have a lot of clutter, if you have a lot of mess, if you have a lot of disorganization, typically that might be, it could absolutely be a manifestation of like what's actually going on internally in yourself. And I've definitely seen that for myself over the last year with sort of the journey I've been on with my mom coming to live with me from South Africa, and us having to move the house around and now rejigging it again because we've sort of built an annex area for her. And so I'm going through this process of like, oh my gosh, like I've really let things go. Like I like to stay on top of things, but I've really let piles of stuff build up and clutter. And so I've been going through that decluttering process and, doing my wardrobe switch over. And I hope you really enjoyed last week's episode with Nicola. That was so helpful and so inspiring. I feel like I've been really rocking my outfits this week. It's amazing when you listen to something like that, it really gets you focused. And so I've been cleaning up my wardrobes, just creating that physical environment that feels good, that feels different, and then gets me excited. And, so if you are in that place right now where things are just so out of control and you're like, I just don't even know where to start, what I've done is one drawer, one place, one room. Like start with the one thing. Don't try and do all the things, because that's when your brain goes into overload and it's very stressful. So start with the one thing. What is the one drawer that you can clear out today? Because action breeds confidence. So when you start to do the one thing, that's when you start to think, okay, well, that took me 10 minutes. Like, that's great. But imagine, and I was listening to a podcast of a woman the other day. She's this decluttering expert. I just love all that. I mean, I don't know about you, but I love all those home shows, the home edit. Oh my goodness, when they color categorize things. And I'm just like, oh, my husband's like, this is literally everything to you, isn't it? I'm like, honestly, this is like the biggest turn on. I love it. So if you're like me, let me know. But yeah, and it's amazing when you start that process of decluttering, what that releases. It genuinely, there's a psychology about how it releases that headspace. And this woman was saying on the podcast about how it took her a good year to get her house in order. So don't feel like you've got to do it all by the end of the month or by the end of the year even. Like, see it as a process, see it as a journey, and see it as an investment in yourself. Because again, I think when we think, oh, it's just another thing on the to-do list, rather than, well, what's the investment here for me, and what's difference is this going to make for me? That's really where the mindset shift comes in, and that's where we can really, get ourselves moving forward, rather than thinking, oh, this is just like another thing to add to my to-do list. So another tip for the sort of creating that environment for you, for your success. And when I say success, I don't mean like the promotion at work or like whatever, a lofty goal you might have. I just mean success. So what does success look like to you? For me, it looks like having a happy, joy-filled life. And when I say that, I don't mean that nothing bad ever happens and that I'm happy all the time. Like, I actually listened to something the other day where it's like, happiness is external, joy is internal. Joy is that, actually, I heard that at church. It was my pastor, and he said that it was that joy, internal peace, that even in the midst of chaos, like, you feel that internal peace. What success looks like for me is that internal peace, that close, having that time to give back to my community, to be a present mom, wife, daughter, And so, yeah, as much as I'm ambitious and I'm wanting to achieve in my business and I've got these goals and these things that I want to do, actually, when all is said and done, like, what do I value? Like, what do I value? So I'm sharing that because I'm asking you the question, like, what does success look like for you? Because when you know what success looks like for you, and you've really taken the time to get down to the nitty gritty of your values and stuff. And that's really what I do with my coaching, is I really get to the nitty gritty with my clients about what it is that they want, so that we can create that life vision of like what we're working towards, so that we can pick off like, right, what are the things that we need to focus on with you to help you to be your most healthy and thriving self. So just an idea on that, as far as creating that successful environment. So that environment that helps you to feel fulfilled, healthy, and thriving. So one of the things you can look at, so we've looked at physical, is like emotional clutter. Like, what is the stuff that you're bearing deep down, you're eating your feelings, you are thinking that I'll deal with that, I don't have time to deal with that. Like, what are those things? Now, I am no therapist. As much as I have a psychology degree, I am not a qualified therapist. I am a health coach. And so what I would always recommend is that you seek professional help. And I've absolutely done this. I did this, not too long ago when my dad passed away, and I felt like I just needed that extra support. And I think it's the biggest sign of strength when we can recognize that there are things that, and emotions, like our emotions are so tied to our health, to our well-being, to stress, to everything that's going on in our bodies, in our mind, body, and soul. And so really, if there is stuff, if there is trauma, if there is inner child trauma, and maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm all good, I think I'm fine, like, I don't know if there's stuff there. But what I would encourage you to do is to think in situations that trigger you. Why is this triggering me? Like, why is that hit a nerve for me? Think about those situations. And if you find, and I had sort of, I'll share with you very vulnerably, I had a situation a few months ago, and I won't go into all sort of the detail because it's something that I've had to really kind of face up to and process through. And something happened, and it really triggered me, and it triggered some inner child stuff that happened when I was growing up. And I probably haven't shared recently. So if you're new, listen to the podcast, you won't know this, but like going back into my childhood, my biological father was an addict, and there was a lot of pain and trauma associated with the first sort of 11 years of my life that we cohabited before my parents formally split up and divorced, and my mom and I moved away and lived on our own. And so something happened that really, and literally for a couple of days, I physically was shaking and so upset because of the situation that had triggered this memory. And it's incredible because I've been doing so much research on it. And it's like, when you experience trauma, your body stores that trauma. It stores it internally in your cells. Like, there's all sorts of scientific names for all the stuff. I'm just going to just like absolutely break it down how I understood it. It like stores it in your cells. And when that trauma reoccurs, it physically triggers, like it takes you back physically to that place. So I know that that's really kind of an extreme situation, but there could be anything. It could be that, you were told in front of your class that you were useless, or, something happened where you felt less than, and that's really stuck with you. And that's really like affected you. And so if you've got stuff that you need to work through, don't underestimate how damaging that emotional clutter internally can have an effect on how you're showing up, how you think of things, how you approach things, how you approach relationships. And I see, with my parents and things that they did. And I think, gosh, like, I have to make such a proactive decision not to let that emotional stuff like affect how I now parent and how I show up in my life now. So that's why I'm such a personal development person, because I've had, felt like that's just been such a part of my journey to really get to the root of this stuff and work with a therapist and stuff. So yeah, that's the kind of emotional clutter side of things that's really important to understand. And then the other thing that could be really emotionally affecting you is the people that you surround yourself with, like the negativity. And I think, gosh, like nowadays, it's absolutely soap opera living in the UK at the moment with all the goings on of our government and obviously just a completely unprecedented year with everything that's happening in the world. And yeah, it's having that constant exposure. And this is where, like, when I say to people I don't watch the news, it's not because I'm misinformed. Like, I will check in on the headlines like once or twice a week, but I just cannot allow myself to absorb. I'm such an empathic person that if I sit in front of the news channels or I sit and read Twitter or, BBC homepage, it really affects me physically and emotionally reading that information. And so I know that I need to guard my heart in that sense, but also in terms of the people that I expose myself to, because again, I'm somebody who wants to help everybody. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm like, oh, steer clear because they're a bit neggy, but I just limit my exposure. And I've even got some friends who I absolutely love and adore, but I know in myself now that I cannot be around certain people for long periods of time because actually they can be quite negative. And I find myself getting into like that negative cycle in my head. And so, yeah, it's just being conscious of that. But you might have some people who are down and right, just not good for you. And that is a whole process in terms of breaking off those like soul ties and really just disconnecting from relationships that are no longer serving you. And yeah, it's a journey, it's a process, but I really encourage you to look at that. The other thing that in terms of creating that environment for success is thinking about accountability and what that looks like for you. Because for me, I always like to put myself in a place where I'm accountable, not because I need somebody to tell me what to do, but sometimes I need somebody to help me understand why it is that I'm not doing the thing already that I know I need to do. Like, we all know what to do, but it's just, why are we not doing it? So I find having those containers and that accountability with other like-minded people or people that have the same goals as me. So that could be like a business container or could be a health container. And I'm such a big fan of creating containers for success. So whether that's like a 30-day focus container or whether that's a 90-day or whatever it is. And that's why I like to work with my clients in terms of those things, because I think psychologically as a human, we like to know we have a start and an end point. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't carry on the learnings, but it just gives us that focus and that intention, which is another tip that I want to give you for creating that success container for your health, your career goals, all those things that will help you to be healthy and thriving, is because that focus and intention, where your mind goes, it's that whole analogy. It's because of that reticular activating system that sits at the front of your brain here. And if you're listening, I'm literally pointing at my forehead right now at the top. So it's that part of your brain that, if I had to say to you right now, don't think of a pink elephant. That's all that's in your brain right now, because I've brought that into consciousness. So it's thinking about, what are you exposing yourself to? So that's hence the negativity, the negative people, the cluttering environment, like all of that stuff is having a deeper effect on your psyche that you probably don't appreciate how much of an effect that's having. And the other thing is, with your focus and intention. So if it's always that thing. So say I love this example because it's actually happening to me right now. So I actually ordered a new car a year ago, would you believe? And because of the part shortage in the world, it's taking forever, but I'm determined to be steadfast because I'm going environmentally friendly. So I'm going to not relent. They called me the other day and they're like, do you want this petrol model? I'm like, no, I'm going hybrid. So, but now that car that I'll be getting, I'm seeing everywhere I go because it's in my mind's eye. So what is your focus? What is your intention right now? And really think about that and what that looks like, because that is going to create a huge impact. What you focus on expands. So we need to get clear on that. So yeah, those are just kind of some of the things in my heart to share, because as I say, it's something that I have literally been going through the process of recently, that focus, that intention. And I really just wanted to share with you. And also because it's really relevant right now to something that I'm launching for the Healthy and Thriving Career Moms community in the month of November. So I was sitting there the other day and I was thinking, right, what, making my plans for, the first part of next year of 2023. And I was thinking, no, this is ridiculous. We're not waiting until 2023 to take action. I'm going to create a special 30-day container. It's called the Whole You container. It's for the month of November. And this is a focused small group of working moms. So I have a limited amount of places on this because I want to keep this really small, really intimate, really exclusive. And what we will be doing for a period of the 30 days, we will have once a week. There's actually 5 weeks in November. So 5 1-hour weekly calls. There's going to be no homework in between, no loads of extra actions to do. So it really is about putting that focus and intention on that 1 hour a week that you're going to come and spend with me. We're going to have the accountability through that community, through that call, through a WhatsApp group, if you want to be a part of that. We are going to be looking at the whole you. So we're going to be looking at health, nutrition, time management, stress. We're going to be looking at all the things that are going to help us to get on a healthy and thriving path. So if this sounds like something that you need right now because you are doing the same thing over and over and nothing's changing and you're frustrated and you need to move forward in your health, career, life, then this is the container for you. And because this is such a special thing that I'm doing, and I just feel, and I understand how people are feeling in the world right now, and they're feeling so stressed out. I have put it isn't even about the money for me. I've put the most ridiculous price on it, just because I want to impact and help as many people as I can. Although in saying that, it is restricted to a certain number of people. I'm not going to be taking more than 10 people on this container because I really want to give you that individual attention. So if this sounds like something that you really need to reset your healthy habits right now, go to the link in my show notes or drop me an email, wendy@wendygriffith.co.uk, and ask me for those details. We start on Tuesday, the 1st of November. So you're going to be listening to this on Wednesday, the 26th of October, and that's 2022 if you're listening in the future. But take action. Don't overthink it. Like if there was that little gut feeling in you and you're like, I need this right now, now is the time to take action, make yourself accountable, come and be around people on the same mission as you, who are like-minded, who are wanting to create that environment for success, accountability, focus and intention, and let's clear the emotional, physical clutter and get on an even keel and, smash it out for 2022. Let's not wait until 2023. This is deliberately for the busy working mom. So there is no extra stuff, no workbooks and all this extra homework and stress. This is not like another stressful to do. This is like your hour of soul care where you're going to come on with me each week and we are really going to get you unstuck and moving forward. So I cannot wait. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has been useful. Please share with other mums, tag me on social media, and I love you all. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. I am so grateful for you. If this episode has resonated, make sure you visit wendygriffith.co.uk to discover more of my content and my fantastic free resources to support you in thriving. Or if you'd like to continue the conversation further, drop me a DM via Instagram @WendyGriffithLiveHealthy. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep thriving.